Welcome, everyone. This is Monday, August 7th. Questions, comments, concerns, come up to the microphone here. Give us your name and address. Tell us what's on your mind. Call the roll, please.
Cedar.
Here.
Ellery.
Here.
Kinsfatter's absent. Kufa.
Here.
Laporte.
Here.
McCartney.
Here.
Watt.
Here. Motion to excuse Mr. Kinsvater.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I'm going to ask for a motion to add an item to the closed session to discuss pending litigation.
So move, Your Honor.
Support.
Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We'll go to consent agenda. A, City Council minutes of August 3rd, 2020, regular and closed meeting recommendation approved. B is the Planning Commission minutes of July 8th, 2020, recommendation received. And C, resignation from the Golf Commission, accept with regrets.
Motion to rule A through C as presented, Your Honor.
Support.
Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Let's go to number 5. We have a proclamation tonight. This is to recognize Mildred Rose Cowell of our 3rd Ward. She's 100 years old. Whereas the longevity of life is a blessing for an individual and a community which benefits from the knowledge, creativity, and experiences this individual brings to all. Whereas the City of St. Clair recognizes with respect and admiration the contribution of senior citizens to our community. Whereas Miss Mildred Rose Cowell, a.k.a. Minna, was born in Australia on August 28, 1920, moved to the United States of America in 1989, specifically to St. Clair, Michigan in 1990. Whereas Ms. Cole was a typist at Jones Lang Wooten before starting her family, she and her husband Colin then raised 3 children together. She enjoys gardening, playing bridge, golfing, and reading. Whereas Ms. Cowell has been a resident of the City of St. Clair for 30 years, has contributed to the community in many ways, specifically as a volunteer at St. Paul's Thrift Shop, and whereas the United States has the greatest number of centenarians in the world, Ms. Cowell should be honored for these 100 years on earth. Therefore, be it proclaimed that I, William E. Cedar Jr., Mayor of the City of St. Clair, on behalf of the City Council and the citizens of St. Clair on this 17th day of August, 2020, honor Miss Mildred Rose Cowell for long life and prosperity and wish her many more years. Congratulations to Rose. This proclamation I'm going to give to Mr. Watt because do you want to say a couple words about it?
Well, Minna's been around South Riverside, lived in that area, like the mayor said, since 1990, and always kind of a staple of South Riverside. Awesome lady. Her husband Colin was always willing to help, and I think it's neat that somebody comes over from Australia and not just comes to the United States for the opportunity, but comes into St. Clair and becomes part of the community. I think it's really one of the reasons why people love St. Clair and love the community about coming in here, because they visit, they love it, they stay. So, and Minna turns 100 on the 28th of August, and she is extremely honored to be honored by Mayor Cedar and the council, so thank you.
Thank you, John. And make sure you get this for okay?
We'll do it.
All right, thank you. All right, we have no ordinances resolution. We'll go to number 7, reports administration. Mr. Roth, do you have anything?
Yes, a few items to report on this evening. Preliminary engineering estimates for the North Riverside sewer relocation work are in. They're quite expensive. We're meeting with the engineer this week, wastewater, DPW, myself, to talk about ways to possibly alter the project, bring that cost down a little bit. So I expect more information coming to council in the near future on that project. Construction of 3rd Street will start next Monday, a week from today. After 3rd Street is complete, the contractor will begin work on Cass. The other contractor should be starting St. Clair Highway soon as well. I don't have an exact time on that yet, but that work on St. Clair Highway is essentially complete. That was being done for Cargill. Planning Commission met last week and discussed the master plan, and I believe they are going to be bringing that to council's attention in the near future at our next meeting.
It's been approved.
Okay, excellent. So look forward to that. It'll be good to get that project almost complete. Water plant study, that's going well. The engineers did their site visit last week, took lots of pictures, spent a few hours talking with all the staff on operations. So that project is moving forward. And lastly, the city's issued an RFP for City Hall and city building cleaning services. Bids are due in the coming weeks, and we're trying to get a bid awarded at our second meeting in September to start the new vendor, cleaning provider in October. of this year. That concludes my report for this evening.
Any questions for Mr. Brophy? Yes, sir.
Bill Clinton, 13th City Post Office. I don't have a question for him. I just want to thank him for the crosswalk and the city for getting it done in a timely manner. Thanks, Warren.
You're welcome.
We'll go to B. Mr. Downey, you got anything tonight?
I have nothing this evening, Your Honor.
No? Good. Annette, you got something, don't you?
Yes, Your Honor. I just wanted to provide an update on the state primary election that was held August 4th. It's been almost 2 weeks already, and as of Thursday, the 13th, the county did canvass all of the election results, so now we just wait for the thumbs up from the state, and then it will actually conclude that election. So overall, it was very smooth in the city of St. Clair. Our technology worked great, our equipment worked great. All the voters who came in person were very respectful. There were a couple discussions on wearing campaign material in the precinct, but the election inspectors handled it respectfully. The voters complied. It didn't go any further than that. Just something worth mentioning as we're moving into November. I'll be providing updates and reiterating election law, and that's a big one. No campaigning within 100 feet of the precinct door. And election inspectors and the chairman do have authority to maintain security within the precinct. So I will just keep repeating to respect the law, no campaigning material within the precinct. But we didn't have any major issues a couple weeks ago. So the results are available on our website. They're always posted here at City Hall on the bulletin board. And of course, stclaircounty.org posts the entire county results. Both county proposals passed. A couple interesting statistics that I pulled up just to mention. The voter turnout for the city of St. Clair was at 37%, which sounds very low, but actually it's the highest voter turnout for an August primary within the last 3 state primaries. So it is steadily increasing. So when you hear that being spoken, it is true for the city of St. Clair. So in 2016, it was 24%. In 2012, it was 22%. Our absentee ballots did increase substantially. Total issued were 1,051 ballots, and they were issued because the clerk's office received the application. It was verified, the signature was verified, they received the ballot then to vote and return at their leisure before 8 p.m. election day. So we had a 84% return rate, which is great. Overall, it's great. It's a little statistically lower for the city of St. Clair. In August of 16, it was 92. In August of 12, it was 89. So I have no explanations why the ballots aren't returned. I know they were mailed out, but again, just an interesting statistic to say. So the Board of Canvassers are meeting. All 3 polling locations went well. So that's all I have to report on in August. And as I mentioned, we're gearing up for November already. I receive multiple calls every day. I'm receiving applications already. It's pretty exciting, but there's no rest between August and November for clerks throughout Michigan. I think that was it for my update in August, and any questions on November I'll be happy to take. And again, I'll be providing updates probably every meeting until Election Day to answer any questions and educate our voters. So thanks for your time.
All right, thank you. Keep up the good work.
Thanks.
Any other departments? Okay, we'll go to authorities, boards, commissions, committees, chairs. Anybody have anything from council? No unfinished business. We'll go to number 9, new business, designate Michigan Municipal League representative and alternate. Mr. Brophy.
Yes, members of council, the Michigan Municipal League has an annual business meeting, and a representative from the city, typically the city manager, attends as a voting member on behalf of the city of St. Clair. There is an alternate as well. That's typically been Mike Laporte. So this is just a simple motion to designate myself as the voting representative and Mike Laporte as the alternate representative.
So moved.
Support.
Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Congratulations, fellas.
And I will add that the conference is virtual this year, so it'll be really easy to attend the business meeting. It was going to be on Mackinac Island, though, so I'm kind of disappointed about that.
All right, we're going to letter B here. Been a long time coming here. Discuss purchase agreement of industrial park property. Mr. Casey, starting this?
Good evening, council, Mr. Mayor. Very happy to be here in front of you this evening. After 20 long years, after the city and the state spent a lot of money to develop the St. Clair Industrial Park site, we have finally received a good, probably better than expected, purchase agreement from the developer for a project that's in the works. What I'm going to do is give you a little bit of history about the project, and then I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Trey Ullman from Innova, the developer for this opportunity. So first thing I want to say is that that when the project first came to the EDA, we were immediately asked to sign a non-disclosure agreement. That agreement applies to myself, the board of the EDA, and all of the employees of the EDA. Because of that, there's much about the project that I cannot discuss in the public arena until authorized to do so. We are going to talk a little bit about the purchase agreement today, a little bit about the intended use of the property. Under no circumstances will we be able to talk about the company or the client, the reason why the property is being purchased and developed. That will come at this point on approximately October 21st, unless something changes with the state's agenda. The project is going to the state's Michigan Strategic Fund Board for official approval of state and local incentives. So at that time, we'll be able to talk about it in detail. Okay, so first what I want to do is just talk a little bit about how the project came about. I received a call from a member of the EDA, one of the companies that's a member. They happen to be a general contractor based out of Lansing, Wieland Construction. Now, Wieland has been familiar with the St. Clair Industrial Park for a few years. We've worked with them on a couple of opportunities that didn't come to fruition, but they were very aware of the park. A few years ago, they partnered with Innova, which is a relatively new developer in the marketplace. The developer is basically an investment group that puts together the capital to do projects that they then typically lease out to clients. Okay, so that's a developer. So Innova is the developer in this case. Innova about 2 years ago looked at potentially buying a building in the St. Clair, in the city of St. Clair, an industrial building that was for sale and that's occupied by a logistics company. That project didn't quite happen, but in the process of them coming into town, we showed them the industrial park and some other things, and so they were aware of it. And they were one of several companies that was provided an opportunity to bid on a large project. And they immediately started thinking about what property did they have in their inventory that they thought would be a good fit. And it basically boiled down to two properties, one of which was or is the St. Clair Industrial Park. And so they called me and they said, hey Dan, what do you think with this? Do you think this would be a good fit for this property? What do you think we can do to try to win this project in terms of incentives, information that they needed on the property, and so on? And so the very first thing that happened is they made me sign an NDA. And then the second thing is we began sharing information with them on the property. This is typically what we do whenever we're working with a potential client for the development of some of that land or all of that land. And so our role was pretty straightforward. We contacted the city to talk just in general terms about types of incentives. That's what we normally do with every community that we're working with. And so we had a pretty good understanding of what it might take from the development team to be in the running for the project. And so we put together all the information that was required by their client, and that was submitted to the client for consideration along with a number of other proposals. And I want to just reiterate this a little bit that in my estimation, St. Clair County was a long shot to win this project. And the reasons are not because we don't have a good site or a good community, It was just merely the distance to the plant or the location where their customers are. And in addition to that, there was a tremendous amount of competition for the project. There were about approximately 40 communities that were in the running in multiple states, Michigan being one. And so we had to beat a lot of people, and we weren't really in the right location. We were fairly close, but not in the right location to put together the best package for the project. So from the beginning, we were playing catch up. As the process continued, we continued to make that next short list. And that continued until finally we got down to 4 locations, at which time the developer had to sharpen their pencils to start putting the best price forward. Then we were down to 3 locations, one of them being out of state. At that point, the Michigan Economic Development Corporation got involved from the state's perspective with incentives, and they wanted to know what the local match was going to be, which we're required to provide. And so we did. We offered the typical 12-year tax abatement and the land. And as you know, in the past, there's a formula that the city has used for which the land can be free for projects that have significant economic impact. Significant being defined by jobs, high-paying jobs, and also tax base that would be generated from the project. So I can say with full confidence that if we did not provide the land for this project, essentially for free, we would not be here tonight. It wouldn't happen. That's how tight the competition was. That allowed the developer to put together a competitive lease rate. That, along with their history, and particularly Whelan's history of doing projects quickly, allowed them to get to the finish line. But again, if we didn't follow some of the intent that the city had to provide this land potentially for free for big projects, we would not be here tonight. We would not win this deal. It was essential. I'm going to turn it over to Trey Allman in a minute to talk a little bit more in detail about the development, what they intend to do with the land. But I want you to know that this is a unique opportunity. It's been a long time coming. The economic impact of this project is going to be significant. If all phases of the project occur, this will be a top 10 taxpayer in St. Clair County. So I think it's well worth the wait to bring the right company to the table at the right time with the right partner. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Trey Allman.
Thank you, Dan.
Good afternoon, Trey Allman with Innovo. As Dan had mentioned, this was a highly competitive process, and we really appreciate having a partner like you guys that really brought this project to St. Clair. Other than that, a little bit about the project. It's a multi-phase project that fits the intent of the original industrial park. I can't say much about it overall because I'm under a similar NDA as Dan. I actually got one pretty much the day I heard of the project. But I will try to answer any questions that you guys have for me.
How many jobs is this going to create?
Couple hundred, if not more. You'd have to ask Dan on that one.
Okay.
In the state's staffing and investment chart that you have. In the staffing and investment chart that the client or company filled out for the state, it calls for 300 new jobs. And I've also heard the number is as high as 350 jobs. I'm not sure if that is all phases because the company has been very tight-lipped. So I think for the initial phase of the project, originally it was 150 new jobs, and then subsequent phases, which are supposed to happen very quickly, brings it up to somewhere between 300 and 350.
That's huge.
Thank you. So if all goes as we all hope it does, Trey, when do you think you're going to be starting to do something?
As soon as we can. I mean, weeks. As soon as, we clear, assuming that it gets approved, property is purchased, we would start immediately.
Do you have a deadline for when you want to start production?
Yeah, about a year to have the building up.
Can you do that? That sounds quick.
It's what we do, unfortunately or fortunately.
Anybody else?
Oh, welcome to St. Clair.
Welcome.
Yeah,
Hey,
thank you,
thanks.
guys.
Good luck, Trey.
Bill's got a question.
Oh, yep.
Wetland 1374 South Riverside. How much land is it?
100 and,
It is approximately 114 acres.
The whole thing?
Yes.
And I understand I'm right, we're giving it to them?
The purchase price is $200,000.
How much we got invested in that land?
I wouldn't have that number in front of me
Rough
today.
idea?
I couldn't say.
At least $1 million, right, that we borrowed from the state? Plus, am I correct?
that, yeah, I don't know the number exactly
We
either.
borrowed $1 million from the state a while back, right? So
Yes.
we're into that plus everything else.
Yeah.
What about the wetlands? It's out there.
What about them?
Who's gonna take care of it?
Wetlands would be, the responsible party for developing that the property, all the wetland stuff is their responsibility.
What about the two leases that we have out there? One with the St. Clair Inn and one with the farmer?
The St. Clair Inn lease is not an issue, and the lease with the farm. The St. Clair Inn lease is being notice is given to the St. Clair Inn that they no longer are going to be able to have that property when the lease is up. Additionally, the lease with the farmer has been terminated as well.
When did the lease with the farmer get terminated?
Essentially, with this action here.
Gonna give the guy time to get his corn off?
It's already gone.
Pardon me?
It's already gone.
Hold on. Where'd it go? You take it off?
No, that was taken off by an agent of the city.
City wouldn't let the man take his corn off?
No, in order to make the development timeline, no.
Okay, what about the infrastructure? Continue the water, the sewer, and the roads. Who's gonna, that part of his deal?
There's no, nothing is in, regarding to infrastructure improvements, city responsibility, nothing is formalized for any of that yet. It's not anticipated that that would have to happen.
It was always talked about, is there enough water out there? Fire, protection, and process. Is that a concern?
At this time, no.
That we just supply enough water out there for what they wanna do?
That's the current understanding.
Alright, like I said, we're giving away property that we got over $1.5 million invested in.
They're still gonna be paying taxes on it.
Alright, how long is it gonna take, at a 50% abatement, Mitch, how long does it take to get the $1.5 million back?
More than what we would be getting if we just let it sit there, growing
Pardon
corn. More than growing corn.
I'm just saying, that, you take $1.5 million and throw it away.
I don't
right,
think we
thank
look
you.
like that.
Anybody else? Yes, sir.
I thought the property out there, the wetlands, was mitigated because they put that pond back over in that back side. That was done through Westwick.
Done quite a few years ago.
Yeah.
So if you don't mind, the wetlands were mitigated except for there's an existing ditch on the property and the city has a permit from Eagle, which is the former Michigan Department of Environmental Quality. That's about 1.2 acres of wetlands that has yet to be mitigated, and it's supposed to be mitigated in the area where the existing wetlands are. It'll have no impact on this project.
Thank you, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
Anybody else?
So, probably 6 or 8 years ago, the county actually paid to clear that property. That was roughly $160,000. And when we looked at it strategically countywide, that was arguably the largest piece of property that had proper infrastructure, that you were able to accumulate that property. And I know we're sworn to secrecy on this, but I can assure you the taxing benefit of this thing is going to be massive. It's probably more like in the top 5 taxpayers in St. Clair County. So as far as a repayment on this over time, this is going to produce a lot of money for a very long period of time. a home run. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
So do we need a motion to approve the purchase agreement?
We do.
So moved.
All right, the motion is made and supported to approve the purchase agreement. Questions, comments? Call the roll.
Koopa?
Yes.
Laporte?
Yes.
McCartney?
Yes.
Watt?
Yes.
Ellery?
Yes.
Cedar?
Yes.
Carried, Your Honor.
Congratulations to everybody. Good luck to everybody. It's been a long time coming. Number 10 is claims and accounts of August 6th and August 13th.
Hearing no questions, Your Honor, I make a motion to approve as presented.
Support.
Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Let's go to number 11, public comment. Everything, any non-agenda items, any questions about? We'll go to number 12 then. Mayor and council, anybody in council have anything to announce? I do want to thank Jeff Boehm, Dan Casey, Trey, everybody involved in this. Over 20 years ago, we made an investment on the city, behalf of the city out there, and it's been a long time coming. 2008 hurt us with the recession and all that, and then companies came in. I don't remember how many meetings I've been to where we were that close. And will it take some time to get the payback? Yes, it will, but that's what we do. When you invest something, you expect some time. So I'm just proud and glad that I've been able to work with everybody on this thing. So keep up the good work and let's go. Anybody else? All right, I'm going to go to number 13, closed session. I'm going to ask for a motion to discuss strategy connected with the negotiation of collective bargaining agreement represented by ASME and pending litigation.
So moved, Your Honor.
Support.
Motion made, supported. Questions? Call the roll, please.
Laporte?
Yes.
McCartney?
Yes.
Watt?
Yes.
Ellery?
Yes.
Koopa?
Yes.
Cedar?
Yes.
Carried, Your Honor.
All right, we may take action when we come out, but we may not. You're welcome to stay. If not, be careful going home. Good luck. Be careful, be safe. Have a safe trip, Trey.